Alongside, we've joined with Edges and Sledges podcast member, Dhananjay Chak. Hi, Dhananjay.
Hi,
How are you
Pavan.
doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Pavan. Sorry, there may be a bit of a lag, I think, at your end.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Could you hear me? Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Nice and
Great,
clear.
great. So today we
Cool.
are going to do the review of the ICC 2020 World Cup 2022. And first of all, let's discuss about the final, because yesterday I think it was a great, great final. I thought people were thinking that there will be rain yesterday, going to get involved. Obviously, the forecast said that it was going to be 100% probability of rain, but it happened, and we had a match yesterday. And thoughts on the finals, Dhananjay? First of all, I mean, England, I think, did a remarkable performance yesterday, especially the first innings. I mean, Sam Curran bowled brilliantly. So, thoughts on that performance from England yesterday?
Yeah, I mean they are the best white ball team in the world in my mind. They are the ODI World Champions from 2019. They are now the T20 World Champions as well. So they're the first team to hold both the limited overs World Cups at the same time. They've looked at themselves in 2015. They've lifted themselves up and they've changed the way how the world plays white ball cricket. So yeah, they had their big match player show up yet again, Ben Stokes, scoring a magnificent 50 and being there right at the end. So after the heartbreak of 2016 and Carlos Brathwaite, good to see Stokes redeem himself. I mean, when he writes his autobiography, or there's a movie made on him, there'll be quite a lot of kind of unbelievable moments and redemptive moments for
Yeah, and I think it
Ben Stokes.
was it the, yeah. Yeah, continue, Dhananjay. Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm just saying Ben Stokes carrying England to glory, just magnificent. Everyone loves a comeback story, right? So very very happy for him.
Yes. And what's your thoughts? Obviously, Owen Morgan obviously left captaincy around July and August, and then Butler only had 2 months, obviously, to resemble this England team and obviously make them world champions. And I think right now we all know that that was the right move that Owen Morgan did, actually, because he was also struggling with form and all. So your thoughts on how Josh Butler actually led this team, and how good he was as well as a batsman as well, and the lead as well for England in this 2020 World Cup.
Um, Sorry, I didn't catch the question, but is it around Josh Butler's captaincy?
Yes, Dhananjay, do you hear? I did your thoughts on Josh Butler as a leader and as a captain. Obviously, after Owen Morgan stepped down, the way that he led the team in this 2020 World Cup.
Yeah, he did a great job. Obviously, I mean he led from the front with the bat in the semi final. He's one of the best white ball players in the world. His, I mean, Morgan stepping down is something that, as Indian fans, Indian cricket fans, and probably Asian cricket fans, we can probably look at a little bit because he could have quite easily gone to this World Cup. He retired a few months before the World Cup, and
Yeah.
so he took the decision in the larger interest of England cricket. And Josh Butler was ready, he felt, and he handed over the reins to him. And it's not often that Asian cricketers do that. So Morgan doing that um, was a refreshing kind of. Um, it was good to see that, and I think he contributed. He's built this team, and Butler has reaped the rewards of that.
I think that was great. By your insights were great. Your thoughts obviously on England, obviously fielding first. yesterday. And obviously, do you think Pakistan reaching 138 was enough? Do you think they were
No,
maybe 10 to
no.
15 runs short yesterday when they were scoring in the first innings? Do you think, especially that middle order, I mean, Baba and Rizwan obviously struggled a bit yesterday? And the way that Pakistan approach, your thoughts on especially that first innings from Pakistan?
Yeah, it wasn't enough runs, right? 138 was never going to be enough in a final. Another 20 runs could have made a difference. You saw how they bowled with fire and pace and swing and seam, and it was difficult for the England batsmen to do that. But their approach is always based a bit similar to the Indian batters' approach, and it's conservative in the power play, and they paid the price for that. They didn't get that finishing kick that they'd hoped to get. They didn't get the kind of 10, 12 run overs at the end, which would have taken them past the 150 mark. I think in a final, you need at least 150, 155 to even be competitive. And it was probably a fairly easy win for the England team once they got off to a good start. So 138 was never going to be enough.
Yeah, I agree with you. And obviously, Dhananjay, how good has Adil Rashid been? I mean, he hasn't been good previously prior to the tournament, but especially in the three matches against the three Asian sides, especially Sri Lanka, England, India in the semi-finals, and the finals against Pakistan, he was really good. The way that he got Surya Kumar Yadav out in the semi-final also was just brilliant. The way the tactic that he made Surya Kumar Yadav go to the offside and get himself dismissed. I mean, Surya Kumar Yadav. So thoughts on Adil Rashid's performance in the last three matches, because he also contributed towards England's success, obviously, to win this 2020 World Cup alongside Sam Curran as well.
Yeah, I mean, Adil Rashid is really highly rated amongst the England cricket fans. They're always surprised that he doesn't get an IPL match. And he's he didn't he I think only picked up one or two wickets until the final, and but he hadn't bowled badly. He bowled a lot better than those figures, and the wicket suggests it's not always about the wickets you get, it's about not giving away the runs. And England, contrary to popular belief, with the ball are fairly conservative. They stop the runs, they allow you to get ones and twos, and then they back their batsmen to go and get the runs. I think Adil Rashid did really well. He's clearly one of the premier spinners. I think Australia is a good place to be a leg spinner. One of the tricks again, Hasaranga, I think he picked up 15 wickets, right? It's a
Yeah,
good place to bowl
yes.
leg spin or wrist spin. So um, yeah, he had the conditions in his favor and he exploited them beautifully. He bowled very well yesterday.
Yeah, very true. And also thoughts. I mean, especially Johnny Bairstow obviously was not obviously injured, and he didn't play the 2020 World Cup. And Alex Hales was brought into the team after 3 years. Obviously, him being suspended from the ECB earlier due to some issues, and then came back straight away in that Australian series and performed well over there. Even in the 2020 World Cup, he seems to be having a great time in Australian pitches, especially him in the Big Bash League. He performs well over there and in other franchise leagues also around the world. So how crucial has Alex Hales been, especially that opening partnership between Hales and Butler? We saw that in the semi-finals against India, and even in the previous matches as well. So how much Alex Hales has brought into this team, and do you think maybe in the future he could be the right move, perhaps more than Johnny Bairstow? Any thoughts on that as well?
I think he won't substitute Johnny Bairstow because I think Bairstow is probably along with Butler their best T20 or ODI cricketer. So when Hales could carry on, I mean, having performed like that, and as you said, he knows his conditions in Australia really well. He's done really well in the Big Bash. The resistance to him being in the team was from someone like Morgan, who didn't let him back in after his suspension and his disciplinary issues. I think Bairstow will come back in, but Hales will also stay in the team. I think there are others like Phil Salt, David Malan, Harry Brook that will probably need to bide their time. But Johnny Bairstow is a massive player, as we've seen over the summer, and he was out due to a freak injury, right? I think he had a injury while golfing or something like that. I can't remember how he hurt himself. But yeah, Bester will be back and Hales will be back as well. Remember when this whole way of playing cricket started? Alex Hales was very much part of the setup where he was hitting those big sixes, and he was part of the T20 setup for years. And I mean, he was a big part of that. I think the highest score that they made at Trent Bridge, Hales got like a big 150 in that game. So um, yeah, I think he'll stay, and Besto will stay as well. So
Yeah. Uh, Dhananjay, could you hear me? Sorry,
yeah,
sorry
I
for.
can hear you. No, it's okay. I can hear you.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yes, yes. I'm fine. Yes, you can continue your point, Dhananjay. I'm sorry about that. Yeah,
No,
is
it's
this
okay. I was just saying that I think both Hales and Besto will play in the 11 when Besto's back in fit.
all right? Yeah. So, Dhananjay, let's go to the qualifiers because we'll just go through assess everything what happened in this 2020 World Cup. And as we know in the qualifiers, obviously there were certain shocks that happened. Obviously, and especially Sri Lanka losing to Namibia, which nobody expected. Obviously, for that to happen. Obviously, Namibia played brilliantly that day, and they managed to defeat Sri Lanka on the first day itself. But any more surprises in the 2020 World Cup qualifiers that you see? Any standout players that you saw qualifiers according
I
to
mean,
you?
I think the qualifiers was super competitive, right? You saw the shock exit of the West Indies go out. They didn't even qualify for the Super 12 stage. So, I mean, the reality of the matter is, yes, Sri Lanka is a Test cricket nation. Yes, the West Indies are a Test cricket nation. But other teams like Namibia, the Netherlands, Ireland, they're pushing them hard. So there isn't that much of a gap between those nations and the other Test playing nations at this point. Ireland is, of course, playing Test cricket at the moment, but Namibia beating Sri Lanka hard for Sri Lankan fans. But Sri Lanka is no longer the force that it used to be a few years ago. West Indies not even qualifying. That was a bit of a shock, I have to say, because they're a two-time champion, and it just shows what disaster the administration has been, what a disaster their selection policy has been. They left Hetmeyer behind because of whatever disciplinary issues. Um, but then throughout the Super 12 league as well, you saw these teams beating the more established teams. The finalist Pakistan was beaten by Zimbabwe. The other finalist England was beaten by Ireland. So it's um, it's been an interesting World Cup. South Africa lost to the Netherlands as well. So yeah, I think I've lost Pavan, so I'm just going to wait for him to come back on.
Yeah. I'm really sorry. I think Dhananjay just left. Wait, just give me a second. about the qualifiers of the 2020 World Cup. Yeah, I think we're all good. Yes. Yeah, we were just talk about the qualifiers of the 2020 World Cup, and yeah, I think Dhananjay gave some good insights on how Namibia just lost to Sri Lanka in that match, and then how the standout players he was mentioning as well. Um, yeah, I think yeah, I think I've been mute. I've been muted the whole time. Oh, guys, can you hear me now? Yeah, sorry for the delay. Yeah, this internet connection hasn't been great. Um, yeah, but yeah, coming back, I think qualifiers were great. I think one of the best qualifying matches, I think, was definitely Sri Lanka versus Namibia. I think even Namibia versus UAE also was great. I think this time around, and yeah, I think it just went well. I think the 2020 World Cup qualifiers. I think Hasaranga stood out. I think even the Netherlands players. I think Max O'Dowd, Colin Ackerman, Ben Meekan. I think all of them performed very well this time around. Yeah, and I think it was a great qualifying round. And yeah, so yes, I think definitely Sri Lanka versus Namibia. That was a big shock. That match, and we never expected that to happen. But upsets do happen, and yes. So let's focus on India versus Pakistan. Um, Definitely, guys, we'll be having a part two with a guest. Unfortunately, Dhananjay won't be joining back because we are having some internet connection issues, especially from my end. So I hope he joins later. So we'll quickly sum up this video and do a part two very soon. Hopefully, maybe on Wednesday or Thursday. Because today it's a bit rainy and StreamYard hasn't been much great when it comes to doing this. Yeah. All right. So we'll talk about. Just give me a second. Yeah, so let's talk about India versus Pakistan. I think that was the big match. I think that everyone was hoping for. I think it was really a good match. I think Virat Kohli obviously played a outstanding knock of 82, and I think it was a great match. Pakistan did really went well to go close. I think India scored around 161 for 8, and then Pakistan scored 162. So I think it was a great match overall. India is a fantastic knock that day, and yeah, credits should go to Virat Kohli obviously with that knock that he played that day. Great, I think. Share. Wait, I'll just share the screen. I think review of India versus Pakistan. I just wanted to get Danaya's thoughts, but unfortunately he won't be joining today. But we will get so I think over there we'll get the thoughts. Today we'll just do a short review and of 30 or 35 minutes. I think already we got some thoughts from him, so maybe next time we will be doing a proper video. And yeah, let's just I'll just do a brief video, and then the second half will come in the next video. Yeah, so yeah, I think India versus Pakistan, it was a great match. I think obviously Kohli played a superb knock. But top of Pakistan, both Baba and Rizwan failed that day. And then Shan Masood played a good knock alongside Iftikhar. And yeah, I think this was one of the best matches throughout the tournament, and I'll be discussing this further with Dhananjay once he comes back, or with another guest for sure. I'll be bringing another guest for sure in a recorded video, so don't worry. Yeah, I think this was one of the standout matches for me. I think personally for me, I think this was one of the standout matches. I think Pakistan did everything what they can, and then India were 41 for 4 in that match, and then somehow Virat Kohli and Hardik Pandya, that partnership, and especially Virat Kohli carrying on the innings until the end. Anyone can join for this because actually our guest won't be joining today, so we'll be doing a part two very soon. So for today we won't be having a guest, so anyone can join for this. Unfortunately, Dhananjay left because of some technical issues from my end, but we will be getting along him very soon. Yes, but coming back, I think it was a great match. I think I spoke a lot of India versus Pakistan. I did a separate video on that also. I did a live review that day, so I won't go too much into depth into this match. But I think Arshdeep, as I said, Arshdeep Singh was standout bowler. Mohammad Shami did well over there. And then when it comes to India, I think Virat Kohli just played outstanding knock. This is breathtaking knock, and I think Virat Kohli has been outstanding throughout the tournament, obviously. So full credits to him. And yeah, India somehow managed to win that match. Um, what else do we have? I think New Zealand versus Australia also. I think we did a watch along. Just a small brief. We'll go through that as well. I think I didn't expect that result to happen. Obviously, New Zealand had a bad record against Australia until for years they haven't beaten Australia in Australia in a 2020 match. So I really didn't expect this result to happen. And I think New Zealand played outstanding well. I think Conway played a brilliant knock. Unfortunately missed out 100, but he really played well and well deserved from New Zealand. And yeah, I think overall brilliant performance from New Zealand. And then when it comes to Australia, I think as you see here, I think Maxwell did a good job, and then Aaron. I think unfortunately the rest of the batsmen couldn't support Glenn Maxwell that day, and yeah, Australia managed to lose that as well. Yeah, let's go to some other surprises that we didn't cover in this Super 12. I think we covered a bit on the India versus Pakistan and Australia versus New Zealand, but unfortunately, I couldn't come live for every match. So, just a small briefing on the other matches that happened in the Super 12. Obviously, Zimbabwe beating Pakistan one. I think one of the matches that got me comes to upset because the way the composure that Zimbabwe had was brilliant in that match. And just going through that match, yeah, go through this match because this was a very low scoring match, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know, for some reason Pakistan just put 129 for 8, which is really not enough. And again, Baba and Rizwan failed. Shan Masood played a good knock, but that was just it. That was just it by Pakistan. We have one comment here. Any associate players you can see getting sold in auction of IPL? Good question. I think Josh Little has a good chance. Maybe Paul Sterling. Netherlands wise, I think Colin Ackerman, possible Colin Ackerman, no Maxo Dowd. I think UAE Karthik Meriappan is definitely a player to watch out. I think Karthik Meriappan was a net bowler for CSK and RCB for the last 2 years. So I think Karthik Meriappan is definitely a good option. Ireland wise, I think Josh Little and Paul Sterling. I think both of them have a good chance. Um, Ireland is a main team now. Yeah, true. But still, I think it's a main team, but still, it's alongside the associates, right? They came through qualifying, right? So um, Ireland isn't associate nation anymore. Okay. But yeah, associates. I think Karthik Meriappan. I think definitely a player to watch out for. David Weiss. another player. I think suggestion. I think David Weiss is another player that nearly beat UAE that day. Unfortunately, his lone contributions in help. So for me, I think it's either Karthik Meriappan or David Weiss or both of them. I think they deserve a chance to obviously get a chance. And Sikandar Asa, another player that we have to talk about is Sikandar Asa, because I think 600 runs. I think this year his bowling has been brilliant. I think everyone was wanting the name mention of Sikandar Asa, because in this match also it was Sikandar Asa who was doing well. And good that you pointed that out, Rhythm, because I think Sikandar Asa definitely with the way that he's playing this 2020 World Cup has been outstanding. I won't consider Zimbabwe as associate nation, but because of their band, obviously they didn't play last year. But yeah, definitely Sikandar Asa is definitely a player that everyone should focus, especially in 2020 cricket. I think Sikandar Asa is definitely a player to watch out for. And as you see here, the stats also. Yeah, we'll just go through the stats. Yeah, here see Sikandar Asa 219 runs, 27 average, 219 runs. Yeah, 219 runs, 27 average. That's good from Sikandar Asa. And when we come to Sikandar Asa is even in bowling list. Yeah, Sikandar Asa, that's a did really well against Pakistan that match. Ireland beating England. That is another match I think that no one expected, but luckily rain helped that day for Ireland, and they somehow beat England, which really to beat England. So I think that was a really good match. Especially Ireland bowlers were just brilliant, and that delivery to think that delivery to Ben Stokes, Fionn Hand, that delivery I think was the best delivery of the tournament. I think Fionn Hand to Ben Stokes, hands down, definitely best top three best bowling performance, bowling spells in this tournament. Fionn Hand, I think that was really good. Overall, though, yes, I think those two were the big upsets, and obviously South Africa beating Zimbabwe. And to talk about South Africa now, I think we went to a good topic over here, and I'll be talking more about this with a guest for sure in the upcoming days. On this, just briefly going through, yeah, South Africa and their luck. I don't know about South Africa, but it's really strange about South Africa, because see, last year in the 2020 World Cup, they got knocked out by net run rate. This year, they got knocked out by Netherlands and the rain. I don't know what to say to this South Africa team. And mainly, my question is definitely Temba Babuma. I think captaining this team, he hasn't been doing that great as a captain, I feel. And he's not doing any contributions to the bat. Nor I think it's time to move on from Temba Babuma for me. I think they should obviously play Risa Hendricks at the top. Also, I would like to see Hendrik Klaasen coming in instead of Tristan Stubbs. I know Tristan Stubbs is a talented player, but maybe 2 years time, maybe Tristan Stubbs might take Klaasen's place. But definitely, I would want to see a change of captaincy, and maybe either Markram or Miller should be captain for me. According to me, I think Miller or Markram should be captain for South Africa. But their luck is undoubtedly questionable. I think really bad for South Africa. I really feel bad for South Africa, because the way that they lost to Netherlands in that match, and I think I didn't cover this match also. I did a short though YouTube short at the end, but that match obviously. But yeah, coming this last match of the tournament. um yeah, give me a second. Not the last match, but last day. No one expected this result. And I think this is the thing. Associate teams, I think even in the Ireland versus England, I found out if you put a 150 total batting first in these pitches, especially whatever test is, if you put a 150, 160 score on these pitches. Apart from that India versus England match at Adelaide, especially at MCG or Adelaide or even in Geelong, if you put 160 at least, near 160, you can win the match. But in certain conditions, like now the semi-finals happen in Adelaide itself, if your bowling is a bit weak, and especially with the night conditions also, I think 170 might not be enough to defend. You have to score around 185, 190. But especially coming back, I think South Africa. I don't know what happened to South Africa that day. Especially was very disappointed with Kagiso Rabada's performance. Like really, really disappointed. The way that he bowled throughout this World Cup was really, really disappointing to see. And I also didn't expect that sort of a performance from Kagiso Rabada. So yeah, but Enrique Noike was just superb. And Ningidi against India. Ningidi versus India. I forgot to mention about South Africa versus India match. I think the bounce obviously helped in Perth. Obviously, these bowlers, Enrique Noike, Ningidi, Kagiso Rabada really struggled in this tournament. I don't know for what reason, but Kagiso Rabada really, really underperformed. And I really didn't expect that sort of a performance from Kagiso Rabada. But yeah, I think coming back to South Africa versus Netherlands, I think I think both teams did well. I think Netherlands especially put up a good, respectable total. I think Colin Ackerman played a really, really good knock, and Tom Coop as well. We know how Tom Coop has been throughout Netherlands for the past 10 years. He's been so there's a lot of seniors in this team plus youth. Especially the bowling is really, really not that familiar, but the way that they performed throughout this 2020 World Cup was really, really good to see, and really, really happy to see such a good bowling performance from India in this, sorry, from Netherlands in this 2020 World Cup. I'm really, really impressed. I'm actually impressed with the way that Netherlands played in this 2020 World Cup, because especially their bowling lineup from Netherlands has been outstanding. And yeah, I think they were just brilliant, especially Paul Van Meeken was good. I think Fred Klaassen, another player. These are IPL players. This is why I'm saying the upcoming UAE 2020 league, especially players to watch out for. I would say Best the lead, Fred Klaassen, Max O'Dowd. Unfortunately, didn't get a 2020 contract for any franchise leagues, but he also deserves, I would feel. But these are some players that I think we should be watching out for. I would feel for upcoming IPL tournaments or any franchise league, even for LPL. Even I would suggest these players are the players to watch out for. Even Sikandar Rasa, if possible. If there is LPL in December, I would suggest Sikandar Rasa is definitely a target. If in case if no one plays in the LPL, I mean, if there's replacements, I would suggest the SLC to consider Sikandar Asa, because he's a really talented player. He still has some years left. I would feel Sikandar Asa. And his bowling has really improved. The variations, the lengths, the Sikandar Asa bowls has been really, really tremendous. So I think these are the positive signs of these associate nations obviously performing. And that's what I suggest ICC to obviously give more matches to these associate nations like Zimbabwe, Netherlands, even, I mean, Ireland is a full member status, but still these teams, Ireland, Afghanistan, Netherlands, UAE, these teams, if they get more matches, Namibia, if they get more matches, definitely they can beat any team. I would, because see, Zimbabwe beat Australia in ODI match this series. Zimbabwe beat Pakistan. Netherlands beat South Africa. They have not played much matches, but once they play a bit of matches, obviously these sort of results can happen, and more results of these can happen when they play. That's why I like the format of the 2024-2020 World Cup, you see, because 20 teams obviously are playing, and then teams like USA and these qualifier teams get exposure to playing against main teams, and there could be a lot of upsets. That's why I like this concept from the 2024-2020 World Cup onwards, with this 20 team format in the group stage itself, and not have qualifiers. I simply love that idea, because because there could be more upsets, more people. I know people might not be watching the matches, but in case there's upset happening, people start to get interesting. The viewership increases once a upset happens, especially when a team defeats a top ranked nation, a lower ranked team beats a top ranked nation unnoticed. So these things happen in football regularly, and we want to see that in cricket as well. These lower teams, minnow teams, performing well in this 2020 World Cups. I won't say that Zimbabwe and those teams are minnow teams. I'm just saying, because the ranking that they were and the way that they're performing, especially in Netherlands right now, 17th ranked in the 2020 World Cup, and the way that they beat the number three team, South Africa, that shows we know Netherlands are a team who can upset, because they beat England twice in the 2020 World Cup. So we know these sort of nations are capable of beating top ranked nations. I won't say anything towards that. But obviously, we know if these teams get more chances, obviously now the ODI Super League is happening after 2020 World Cup. Netherlands has been performing impressively against Pakistan and South Africa at home. So if they get more matches, they will perform well. Undoubtedly, they will perform well. So that's why I'm suggesting ICC to obviously give these teams more chances, so that there will be more upsets happening, especially in the 2024 2020 World Cup. We can see a lot of upsets happening, like what happened in the 2020 World Cup. So just a suggestion to ICC, just to obviously give more focus on these associate nations and just give them more matches and just see what happens. Just see what happens. Yeah, so coming back to topic, yeah, we no one expected this to happen. Obviously, South Africa losing to Netherlands. So yeah, these sort of results happen, and that's what I'm saying. These players are the players to watch out for: Max Odward, Bestelid, Van Meeken, Colin Ackerman. All these players, by the way, don't forget, these Namibian players, Netherlands players are not from their original country. They come from other nations, and they come because they don't get opportunities. Same with Sikandar Asa. If you see his story, obviously he comes from Pakistan, and he didn't get opportunity from the Pakistan cricket, especially in domestic cricket. So he settled into Zimbabwe back in 2003, and then played continuously from Zimbabwe. Domestic cricket came from under 19, and then played for the national team. So that shows. Now that's the progress that you see, and these associate. This is what I'm saying for even the top ranked teams to give a bit more focus on domestic cricket and just see whether these players are talented, a bit more. I mean, especially the scouting. Don't let good players leave from teams, because especially Sikandar Asa leaving Pakistan for me isn't that much great, because see, at the end he managed to beat Pakistan with his performance. So just a small suggestion to teams in the future. I mean, not now, but in the now and in the future, present and the future, to just see, especially these top ranked teams, Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka even, because Sri Lanka also certain players go to Kuwait, Bahrain, these Middle East countries, Italy, these European countries and play. So just a suggestion, just to see who's talented and who's not talented, especially because the talented players, you don't want to waste the opportunities. Yeah, but coming back, yes, I think we spoke a lot about upsets, and another upset also, obviously, Australia crashing out of the Super 12, because never expected this to happen. Obviously, going through to the standings, obviously, you just go through to the standings. Yeah, I mean, no one expected this to happen. Obviously, Australia losing out on net run rate, very, very unfortunate. But obviously, England beating New Zealand, I think that was the catalyst of England actually winning the 2020 World Cup. I think England beating New Zealand, the top ranked team, I think that is where England somehow got the confidence and somehow got their belief to do well. And yeah, unfortunately, Australia missed out from the semi-finals in their home nation itself. I think I feel bad for Aaron Finch and the team, but yeah, these things happen. And obviously, the way that they won against Sri Lanka, I mean Ireland, Sri Lanka, and England was obviously a washout. But especially the way that they lost to New Zealand and Ireland wasn't the way the victory margin against Ireland and the way that they lost to New Zealand was unacceptable, and that's why Australia didn't go through to the next stage, because the 89 run defeat against New Zealand proved a big cost for Australia. And if not for that net run rate, Australia would have definitely gone through to the semi-finals, and that really costed Australia their place. I feel bad because I mean Stoinis really stood out in the 2020 World Cup. I think when it comes to bowling, Hazelwood performed, Zampa performed. A lot of things happened with Finch, obviously, with his form. That's a big question. I would feel same like Temba Bavuma for South Africa. But these things happen, Captains, obviously, Rohit Sharma's the other question for India, I would feel. So these things sort of happen. Group 2 wise, I think Netherlands, we never expected them to again qualify, and them finishing above Bangladesh and Zimbabwe is just remarkable. India versus Bangladesh, that was another match I think that I forgot to mention about, but that was really, really close. And if Bangladesh won that match against India, I think Bangladesh should have gone to 6 points and maybe lost out by net run rate, but would have given a good challenge to both India and Pakistan. So, unfortunately, I think India won that by 5 runs, but very, very close match over there as well. Um, yeah, coming to Sri Lanka and my nation, I was really disappointed with the way that Sri Lanka performed. කියලා වැඩක් නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලෝ කොහොමද perform කරේ, මම ගොඩක් disappointed. ශ්‍රී ලංකා performance එක මං හිතනවා මං හිතනවා ක්‍රීඩකයෝ ගොඩක් කරේ නෑ හරියට. මං හිතන්නේ පැතුම් නිසංක, ධනංජය දිසිල්වා, කුසාන් මෙන්ඩිස්, බනිදු හසරංග, ඒ හතර දෙන උයි ලහිරු කුමාර ඒ පස්සේ දා හොඳට කරා මං හිතනවා. I think ලහිරු කුමාර was a big step. I feel he performed way better than I expected, but the rest of the players were a bit disappointing. So yeah, I think no need to talk much about Sri Lanka. Let's go to the semi-finals and wrap things up, guys, and then we'll come to another review, hopefully. Coming to the semi-finals, and I didn't speak much about semi-finals, so let's talk about semi-finals. Because we got the finals idea, I mean the finals insights already by Dhananjay. Yeah, I think coming to India, we'll talk about India versus England, because I mean the way that India lost this match was really, really strange, because I didn't expect India to lose this badly, especially I don't know. I think England were just too good that day. That's what I simply have to say it. But just England were just too good. That's why they beat India in this fashion, and India had no response to England's batting, the bowlers especially, and they really struggled. So yeah, I think hats off to England. I think that day they were simply too good. I think 169 was a good score. Maybe 10 runs short, but Sam Curran really did bad in this match. So 42 runs considered, 10 runs and over. No one notices this. Adil Rashid only. That's why I was talking about with Dhananjay. So Adil Rashid's contributions that day was just brilliant. And Liam Livingston also bowling 3 overs. So these are the overs that helped England winning that match. And obviously, Hales and Butler, as discussed with Dhananjay, was just remarkable. So, well deserved victory for England, as I would say. Um, yeah, I think yeah, Pakistan versus New Zealand. Feel bad for New Zealand in this match. Also, I think New Zealand, for me, were one of the favorites to win the 2020 World Cup. I thought New Zealand would go to the finals. Really, I really thought, but the Pakistan just stood out that day. Really shocked to see New Zealand crashing out like that. I mean, didn't expect, but 152 was definitely not enough. And I think full credit should go to the fast bowling lineup. I feel bad for Shine Shafri also in the final. If for him, if he was there in the finals, definitely would have caused trouble to England. And see the way that he bowled 2 for 24 that day. See all the net run rates of everyone. Harris Rauf was good, but especially Shine Shah was a standout in this 2020 World Cup. And unfortunately, England crashed out of the semi-finals, and I think a good knock by Baba Azam and Rizwan that day. Brilliant partnership. And Mohammad Harris, another standout I would feel is Mohammad Harris. The way that he's come back, I mean, the way that they dropped Ted Ali and brought in Mohammad Harris, just 21 years and a long way to go one of the future stars. I would say definitely for me, Muhammad Harris is definitely has been the unsung hero for me, because the way that he's played these knocks in the semi-final, final even, really really impressed me. And really impressed me. Definitely top five unsung heroes of this 2020 World Cup. But yeah, was just definitely brilliant. So finally, guys, we'll just wrap up very quickly, and we'll come back for a round two, if possible, with a guest. So we'll just talk about team of the tournament. This is what I have gone with. So Alex Hills, Josh Butler, Virat Kohli, Surya Kumar Yadav, Glenn Phillips, Sikandar Asa, Hardik Pandya, Sam Curran, Adil Rashid, Shaheen Shafridi, and Mark Wood. This is my playing 11. I've gone with two spinners, and I fit in somehow Hardik. I think this is just a perfect playing 11 for me. Mark Wood has been added because of his pace. He was bowling regularly, was bowling 150 plus. Adil Rashid I've added because last three matches he's been really, really good, especially with his googlies, his stock deliveries. He was really, really good in the back end of the tournament. So with his contributions, what I've seen, the stats also, I think, and that shows that Adil Rashid deserves a place in this team of the tournament for me. Hardik Pandya, definitely, I think his all-round performance definitely made me to choose Hardik Pandya over Mitchell Santner. I've somehow fitted in two spinners somehow with Sikandar Asa has just been outstanding. I cannot leave Sikandar Asa out of this team because he was just outstanding throughout this 2020 World Cup, and never can leave Sikandar Asa out. And seeing this, obviously, Virat Kohli obviously rules the batting stats with 296 runs in the 2020 World Cup. We have Maxwell Ward second with 242, Surya Kumar Yadav third, Butler fourth, Kusal Mendes fifth, sixth, Sikandar Asa, seventh, Pathum Nisank, eighth, Alex Hills, ninth, Lachlan Tucker, and 10, Glenn Phillips. That has been the stats. Strike rate wise, best strike rate has been Virat Kohli once again. Sorry, best batting average has been Virat Kohli with 98. We'll take people with okay, Brandon King second, David Miller third, and it goes so on. Best batting strike rate, yeah. Okay, Lungi, we'll just ignore that. Surya Kumar Yadav 189, six matches. Finn Ladden, brilliant strike rate here, 186.27. Who is Rashid Khan, a bit of a mention, 178. Riley Rosuvo, 169. And Shadab Khan, 168. So that has been the batting stats for the tournament. Bowling wise, let's go to bowling. Just give me a second. Yeah, it has, obviously it's Barindu Hasaranga. We know that Barindu Hasaranga, Sam Curran backs the lead. Blessing Musarbani, Joshua Little, Shine Shafridi, Shadab Khan, and Nonrik Noikia. These three are the sorry. Sam Curran is the highest wicket taker when it comes to Super 12s. From starting from Super 12s to the knockouts, and then comes Shine Shafridi, Shadab Khan, and Nonrik Noikia. I think Sikandar Asa player to mention, also Ashdeep Singh, another player to mention. Best bowling averages, we have, okay, Glenn Maxwell, Anrik Noikia, 8.5 for average, 11 wickets, brilliant. Anrik Noikia definitely should be in the playing 11 for me, but unfortunately, yeah, maybe I think Conric Noikia deserves a mention over here. I actually have to change because the way that Conric Noikia has been bowling over Mark Wood, yes, definitely I would fit in Conric Noikia here. I would do that. Yeah, Henrik Noike gets a mention from me over Mark Wood. Yeah, because seeing his stats, he's been brilliant. Yeah, Sam Curran, Mark Wood to be mentioned. Definitely 12th man would be Mark Wood. Balindu Hasaranga just 13 average. Brilliant. And economy wise, economy is very important. And that's what I've been mentioning. Economy wise, it's been Nasum Ahmed. Top 10 here, Henrik Noike 5.37 only. Who else? These all these associate nations here. Moin Ali 4.50, but I think he bowled less. But when it comes to most bowling wise, it is Henrik Neuker. So outstanding 2020 World Cup for Henrik Neuker. Yeah, guys. So we'll end it over here. Sorry for these internet connections that happened, and I think no one's viewing the video. I really do apologize. Something happens with my StreamYard every time. I really don't know what happens, and maybe this might be my last live video of the year. I'm sorry, guys, but this really could be my last live video of the year. We'll be doing some uploaded videos towards November, December, but maybe my last video in this year. Sorry for that, guys. Today for the technical difficulties, I do apologize, and congratulations once again for England for winning the 2020 World Cup for the second time. And yeah, let's move on to the 2023 ODI World Cup now coming next October, November. So let's put more focus on that. And this, obviously Sri Lanka versus Afghanistan starting this month. I'll be covering in single. I'll be uploading videos, a bit short videos, and upload them. But might be not going live for the next of the rest of the year. FIFA World Cup is coming, so maybe I'll be putting shots regularly. So let's see how things plan for the next 2 months. This might be my last video. I might be putting videos on December. Never know. But thank you so much, guys. Please to subscribe the Sports Breakdown. Please like, comment, and share. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Once again, I do apologize to the Edges and Sledges podcast and to the Anja as well for my connection. And we will see you in the next video. Thank you so much and see you in the next video. Goodbye. Good night.